Shut up and sit down.
I believe you have my stapler.
Bicycle man. Bicycle man.
I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people. Can't you understand that?
Bicycle man.
We are still not quite sure why, but you are listening to the 200th episode of the Dialed Podcast with Matt LeGrand, Evan Price, Lance Hepler, and Jake Von Turing. You must really enjoy suffering.
He's a bicycle man. Hadn't gonna pay the bills.
Looks like you've been missing a lot of work lately.
I wouldn't say I've been missing it, Bob.
Bicycle man. He's a bicycle man.
I'm one of those guys that really just doesn't like podcasting. When people podcast, when people do what I'm doing right now, like exactly what I'm doing right now.
All right, welcome back to the Dial Podcast, and I'm Jake Fondering. I'm here with Lance Hepler.
Lance Romance, right here live in studio.
New studio.
With the new in the new studio.
There's so much new stuff going. There's so much new going on.
There's
New
so
people.
much new. We have a live studio audience.
Yep. Thank you guys.
Hey.
We will pay.
That's
we'll pay
only
you for that.
only two
Yeah.
people. We just put it on repeat. No, there's more than two people.
There's like
here.
5.
I'm gonna-
No, I'm joking.
But we are also in our new studio. We have moved. We're only half done moving in.
Lab
actually.
2.0.
Yeah, Lab 2.0. We're in a much bigger space, much nicer spot. So
Jake was literally doing work for the lab about 2 minutes before this actually started. So
Yeah.
we're still working on the accent wall. Yeah,
Yeah, it's looking good, though.
it's looking.
See,
fantastic.
accent wall looks really cool. It's basically kind of like this one section of wall that's got wood paneling, and I love it. You will see me steal that in a YouTube video in the future.
Matt's like,
hopefully.
hey, can I move to the lab too?
me inviting Kurt
He's gonna
over.
be-
When you're done with this wall, just move over to my house.
He's gonna be shooting his videos.
Oh yeah, I'll
in
just
front
come
of-
over here.
just
Why
come
have
over.
this? Why do all the work when I could just come over here?
Right,
Yep.
exactly.
To Lance's right, Evan Price.
Well, we're drinking we got a Polar and a Kirkland water here.
Go
Jake doesn't
Kirkland.
have his usual coffee because this is later. And Lance, where's your Red Bull
I got
or
nothing.
Monster?
I'm
We
going.
got-
Does
Yeah.
Brandy know
blank.
that you drink Monster?
She does.
She's here. I was gonna expose him on that. I just wanted to make sure that was already
It's-
known. Okay, gotcha.
I would keep it secret.
That'd be funny if
You
she
did a
did
while?
not know,
There was-
and I was.
But then it was.
There
like,
was a time when
forget
it was a secret.
There
That was
a
the
time
best.
I would hide it in a special fridge so
Just
nobody could
leave it
see
all
me.
in your truck.
My secret shame. That's so dumb. Whatever.
Last but not least, Mr. Matt LeGrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet and the live people in studio? It's great to see you guys.
Yeah.
But
special treat.
But to finish off what Evan was saying, Jake, what are you drinking now?
Oh, he does have it.
Strange Beast.
Kombucha.
Yeah, some kombucha.
Very good. The
If
flavor.
you've never tried this before,
Super good.
One of our good friends, actually, I think he's out there.
Yep.
Hey, Mr. Carlos, how you doing?
Yes.
Is it Sierra Nevada that makes this, correct? They make this hard kombucha called Strange Beast in a bunch of different flavors. It is fantastic.
Which flavor do you have right now?
This
I've
is
tried
the
all of them.
passion fruit, hops, and blood orange.
That's
My
good.
favorite one right
I
here.
like that one
so,
a lot. Yeah.
Yep.
I've
Thank
had
you
it
to my
before.
wife for bringing that.
I've had it before. It's excellent. Yep.
Very cool. Hey, we're doing a live podcast
We
today.
are.
Live.
It's a little nerve wracking. There's
yeah,
all these people just
a little bit.
staring
We
at
did
us.
this 2 years ago, right? Was the last one
Was
we
it
did
2 years ago?
2019?
It was our 100th episode.
Or no, wait,
whatever
was that in 2020?
This is our 200th episode.
That was
So
the
it was-
100th.
It's probably
That was the 100th episode.
more than 2 years ago, a little more than 2 years ago that we did the 100th episode live.
No one knows how many weeks are in a
remember.
year.
It was January 2020. Man, if we only knew what was
Really?
coming.
That was January of
That's right.
2020.
Oh man! Wow.
Yeah, it'll be
Right
2 years
That's
ago.
what I feel like
January,
20
so-
years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. We're going to do a normal podcast, kind of. We're going to try and keep some of this other stuff to a brief minimum. But how about some backpedaling, Mr. Lance Hepler?
Why are you looking at me?
Brief.
I thought I was going to bring my wife up here to do my back pedal for me.
That was the idea.
Are you coming
Yeah.
up, Brandy? She's shaking her head. No.
Okay,
you're
so we're going to do a
loser.
backpedal, Lance.
Okay.
on target.
We're too close.
Stay on target.
Stay on target, Hepler. Let's go. Backpedal
I
first.
get
bud.
to see what's happening on his. You bring up your Strava when you do this. I just go off the top of my head.
I know. Look, I'm doing the same thing right now. Scramble, scramble, scramble. What
I
did
just
I do?
make up
What did
stuff.
I
Like you guys
do?
think I'm actually talking about a trend? I'm like, I don't know. I ran 30 miles. That's made up. I'm just making this.
My back pedal this week was almost similar to last week. I did almost 11 hours, and it was all on the trainer in the basement. So Yeah, not once outside. I didn't ride one single time
that
outside.
even
Who
count?
are you? Who are
I
you?
don't know.
He's Jake 2.0.
I have been trying to get back on this plan so I can be somewhat fit for training camp, which isn't for like 2.5 more months. But
Well, if we know anything about a Lance Epler training plan, it's that it starts roughly 3 years before the actual event.
What year? What year training camp are we talking about?
That's right.
2025.
2023's training camp.
It's only 70 weeks away.
That's right. I'm just trying to. I have no response for that. I don't know what I'm trying to do. But I did do the Zwift team ride, which and I hung pretty well
were up there.
this week.
Did you do okay?
Yeah.
I did okay.
I didn't know because I got dropped.
You got dropped when it went hot. I was
I
able
don't
to.
even remember where I got dropped.
There was like 2 like distinct groups at the very end, and I was in the second group. I think Evan was in the first with Josh.
There were a few triathletes in that first one. I think the main issue is we have the cyclists that are usually chasing the triathletes.
Yeah.
And the triathletes are usually ahead of them.
I think you cheated.
I'm just going to say that
Barn.
Barn is a triathlete because his son
was
runs,
up
so
there.
that counts.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm telling you, you just need to give up that other swimming and running thing.
I don't
That's
know.
right, but you're so stinking fast on a bike.
But then I'd have to be actually good at biking, and I think I still wouldn't have a sprint no matter
Well,
what.
what happened
so.
if you put 20 hours a week into cycling alone?
Oh, man, I would really like biking a lot. It would be great. It really would be.
Show of hands. Should Evan give up triathlon and become a
Hard
cyclist?
no. Hard no.
But everybody that I run
it's
with
not
has said
very
the
good.
same
There's
exact
only-
thing about running. So this is...
Yeah.
Here's the
Three
great
people
thing.
said yes.
Here's the
No
great
one-
thing about triathlon is I don't have to commit to actually being good at any of those 3 sports. I get to be average at
No one
3.
is suggesting you become a professional swimmer. I don't know. I'm just saying, like,
Yeah, it's weird. Nobody's ever
weird.
talked to me about that. They're like, hey, man, if you swam 50K a week, you'd still be bad.
no, but your running is getting fast. Your running is. I'm excited to see you do some real running, some real racing. I'm
excited for that.
Run races stuff. What's your next running race?
I'll be doing the resolution run, the 10K at the
What's a
resolution
10K?
run. January 8th.
Goal
Yeah.
time for that?
Lance is going to be running with me, too.
Nope.
That's what he's training
You
for.
could bike next to him.
He's only
I
riding
could.
11 hours a week. The other stuff he's not posting
You
is
would
running.
need a bike. I'm sure.
I'll come do the
you wanna
lead
pace?
bike.
Oh my God, do you
would
want
you be
to?
the lead? Would you be the lead
will you
on
be the
that?
leader?
I will.
Okay, I'll come. Can I come to?
Dave would for sure let you.
Yeah.
I guarantee
Please
Dave
let me
would
be
let
the
you.
lead bike.
Dave would let
What's
you.
the
I'm not doing
What's
that.
the course? What's the course like?
It's over in Battleground. It's got one hill in the middle, and that's it.
I've actually run the resolution
on the trail.
run
Well,
before,
then you better bring your bike.
but it was like 15 years ago.
The
Back
course
when I
has
was
changed.
stupid.
Yes.
Is the hill enough that it'll distract
It
you
does.
from getting a PR? Your PR in the 10K.
Well, the PR in
You
the
have
10K was from that race last year. Same course.
What was it? Your time?
32:10.
Ooh, that's fast. And what's your goal time?
31:30 right now.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Do not beat my PRs.
That's the only reason I'm still running is to go for your PRs.
Yes. Do not make it.
Former Matt LeGrand's Alabama self PRs.
Yes. There's still PRs.
Are you done?
Yes.
All
yes.
right.
Lance, go.
Matt, tell us about your last week. Backpedal force, Matt.
Yeah, I don't even really remember what we did this past week. Swam, ran, biked. I did the team ride until I got dropped. I don't really even remember what we did. It was like some sort of
So the
flats.
McCurry Islands, we did the
like
Neo
the
Tokyo,
course.
and
It was a
the
good one.
countryside loop. I can't remember what the Wandering Flats maybe
I
is
think
what
I
it's
got
called.
dropped on the
Wandering
second hill,
flats.
maybe.
Yeah,
I think I
that's
dropped
what
on the second hill.
Lance has a
Was the
Strava.
hill.
Look it up, Lance.
I actually really like that. That might be my
It's a good course. It's just got all kinds of stuff.
Watopia is like the given that's like the best course.
Yeah.
Sure.
Wandering Flats.
But
Yeah.
Wandering Flats,
that
there you go.
I think that's my second favorite.
Yeah.
If
No long, like terribly difficult climbs, but there's some climbing in there.
Yeah.
Some
I
good
like it quite a
sprint
bit.
sections. You get to see all kinds of diverse stuff.
Yeah.
then
It's distracting.
other stuff from the week, I ran in the snow this morning. It was awesome.
Ooh.
It was slushy, but
Took some pretty pictures of the snow too.
put the drone in the air.
That's my boy.
I know, right? And then I actually took more pictures when I was out there running because I was like testing watches and trying to get some film from the watches that I'm testing and stuff. But it's pretty sloppy out there. But snow was totally unexpected. I woke up at 2 a.m. and just went to the bathroom, and then I looked outside and there's just blankets of snow, and I woke my wife up. I was like, you got to see this. Our kids are going to be so amped up. Of course, we told them that the elves had planned it, and they have like
Well, they did. Yeah.
and that we had some like sleds that we were going to give them for Christmas, but we gave it to them early because the elves gave them sleds.
Ooh.
So it was all around.
So
a
the
good day today.
elves delivered them
snow and
at
sleds
night, or was
And
this?
hot
Did
chocolate.
they use the sled,
And hot
or did
chocolate.
they deliver them, or what was the system of delivery?
This don't question it.
No.
Don't question the magic.
You didn't even have any explanation for it. You're just like, elves delivered it.
I write the message and I try to put like fancy elf cursive kind of handwriting to the letter. It's a sight to see.
Does the next generation of elves actually learn cursive in school, or is that also dropping off their curriculum?
I think they dropped that.
Okay, well, that's sad.
Backpedal?
My back pedal was pretty much all the same as yours and
Lot of
Lance's. Indoor stuff. Had the team ride. Yeah. Fun. Let's move on. Well,
What's your streak?
We moved.
What's your streak?
Oh,
Yeah.
and we moved all week.
Yeah, and
Yes, that's
Jake
what you
literally
really
moved
did.
an entire bike shop.
That's the real work.
What's my streak at? That's a good question. I've lost track of that. It's like
You're getting close to-
485 or 6
That's
or something like that.
absolutely blows my mind.
Very close to 500.
It's funny.
So many
The
days.
person that we should be talking to is over here about this guy biking every single day.
Yes, his back.
That
How
takes
long is the
Jake's
streak?
wife.
It takes commitment from the whole family.
Jake's wife is looking over here in disgust.
Yeah.
Because I'll tell my wife, I'm like, I haven't missed a day this year. I got to go do something. And my wife's like, all right, fine. All right,
488.
fine.
488.
Did you guys
Flags
open
coming
up your Strava, your results thing yet?
I'm gonna wait till next week, but yeah.
Yeah.
You still got to cram.
It's funny. They have a little thing in there. It's like, what's the longest streak you had this year? I'm like,
The whole year.
and it's all Matt's fault because if Matt didn't say you should do a calendar year,
Finish it off.
and he knew
Finish
that
it
he
off.
planted that seed in my my OCD head,
Yeah.
and next thing you know, here we go. But yeah,
Going to work out.
That's hilarious.
January 2nd, taking the day off. Maybe even take the
What are you
week
gonna?
off.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah.
You should. What are you gonna do with all that time?
I don't know, fix everything that's broken.
Swim.
Start the process.
Start swimming.
Don't swim.
Start running and swimming. Thank you.
Champ here. I'm all about having fun. You know, get a couple of cocktails in me.
You got some cocktails in you, huh?
I got no cocktails in me. Is Monster count as cocktail? No.
Sure.
Champ here. I am here. We are going to talk about. There was some cyclocross racing that happened in Belgium. There was a race on Saturday. Rookven. Did I say that right?
Rookfin.
Nailed
Sure.
Rookfin.
No, nobody knows.
pronunciation.
So yes, I did say it right. On the men's side, Tom Pidcock actually won. Barely won by out bunny hopping.
Yeah, that was
Ellie
pretty sweet.
Easterbit. Yep. And ended up winning by just a few seconds. So that was kind of an exciting race.
So, real quick, Evan, if he's
Yeah.
just barely inching out Elizabeth, do you think he honestly stands a chance
No,
of being
God, no.
MVP in Van Aert?
I was so wrong on that pick. Oh my gosh, this is like when what was
It's
it?
the kiss of death,
was this 2
man.
years ago when I said like Quintana was going to win the tour and he
Right.
didn't make it to the end of it? This is almost the equivalent.
didn't
But
finish.
but I will say, I mean, he's like we're talking that next echelon. It's fun to watch him race because he is a great bike handler.
Richie Port's going to win
It's
the
a-
tour.
Yeah, that's what I picked.
That might have been me.
He was looking real quick in the Tour Down Under. Okay, but
On the women's side, Mariana Voss ended up winning, so that was the Saturday race. The
That's very dominant
Sunday
performance.
races, there were races this morning. We are recording this on a Sunday evening.
Yes, sir.
On the men's side, actually, Pidcock was in the lead for a few laps, but he turfed it. He
Multiple times, didn't he?
crashed a couple of times.
Yeah.
He crashed once, lost position, and then you're pressing, so he crashed again.
Yeah.
But he only lost by 15 seconds or 20 seconds or 30 seconds,
Yep.
something like that. It was pretty close. But Michael Van Towerhout, did I say that right?
Nailed it.
Sure.
Yep, everybody's
Nailed
agreeing
it.
that I said it exactly
he had a great
right.
race. He looked solid the entire way. The guy that I thought was going to win though.
Toon Ertz?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, well, he like mountain biker too, I think.
Yeah, he led for
Great
like
bike handler.
3 laps, and then he flatted
Yeah.
like halfway. And so
I think he was going to win if he didn't get that flat.
he rode in on a flat tire before he could switch bikes. And
Ended
stuff.
up on the podium still.
Yeah,
Impressive.
he still made it there.
Yeah.
The women's race was won by Lucinda Brand,
Of course.
and she led wire to wire. Like,
Oh, seriously?
She was like first to the first corner, and that was.
I
it.
feel
How much
like
did she win by?
She did not. It was not a runaway.
Okay.
She barely beat out Betsema, who was just 15 seconds back the whole way.
I feel like that course was a
So-
pure cyclocross race too. It was very muddy. It was super muddy. It was very technical downhills.
And there was a lot of off-camber,
Yeah.
nasty
Sure.
stuff. So that was a little bit
Pretty
crazy.
narrow in points too, so passing was not easy.
There were 5 or 6 Americans in both races. In the women's race, Claire Hunsinger had a crappy first lap and was in like 25th, but she rallied to 11th.
Okay.
So she took
Respectable,
11th.
yeah.
Katie Klaus was there. Maddie Monroe, a couple other names I didn't recognize. So so she did well.
Cool.
So it was fun. And Champ out.
Hey Matt, how does all this cyclocross make you feel? This cyclocross talk, does it make
Makes
you
me
all
it makes me tingle on the inside just a little
He's
bit.
bored out of his mind. He was checking his phone. Look,
I got some spam I could read. You know what I was doing? I was checking to see if there's any triathlon news because you always ask me, and I'm like, no, there's no triathlon news.
Nothing.
And then you're like, what about Evan's triathlon race that he did? You could at least talk about that, Matt. I'm like,
This is
right. He did.
This is
That
actually
was-
really, this is the first. There is no triathlon news right now.
Well, I
Like
was
even
just checking.
Sam Long is in off season right now. Like that's
Yeah.
how little triathlon news there is.
the PTO announced 2 new races.
Yeah, the PTO also announced that they will
You
continue
lost it,
to
Jake.
they will continue to only support people in the top 50.
Stay
So.
on
Yep.
target. Too close. Stay on
You
target.
started making fun of me.
That was our news. Triathlon news out.
Triathlon news.
I just finished the race and I was like, that
No.
sucked. Crashed a couple
Cyclocross.
times. My bike handling isn't that great. Yes, I'm not good at this. And I thought I was going to be good.
I thought it was. We could revisit that.
I love that
Matt's
was
fast.
full. That's an audio pull.
He
That's
had
awesome.
it. He was ready for it.
Ready for it.
We're not going to do a Patreon drawing today, but I just wanted to say a big thank you to all of our patrons. They
Yes.
make this thing go round. They help us out with this thing because we make tons and tons of laughs on this video or this podcast. But
Well, we make each other laugh. That's all we know.
Yeah. We don't make
Mostly
any money,
cricket.
but so we want to thank our patrons for helping us out to under costs or support the cost of the
Yes,
show.
it does
I
help.
can't talk today, guys. I need to finish like this strange
Finish
beast thing.
that
over here.
kombucha.
But I just wanted to say a big heartfelt thank you to them. We're at 200 episodes. We're finishing out another year. It's been fantastic, and I'm having a blast doing this.
Yes.
It's good times.
It's
for
coming
them.
up on 4 years then, because that'll be what we're then 8 weeks away basically.
4 years
from,
in April, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in there. So
Oh yeah, because April was our first one.
somewhere in there.
And our first one
March,
was
April.
Lance was on our second or third. Yeah.
You really missed out on the
So
good
Lance
missed
is
out on the
so
first
technically
two.
Lance's 200th, which really is the only one that matters. We should
Yeah.
be celebrating in 3 more.
That's a couple
We'll
more.
just make another 200th where it's just Lance talking for an hour and a half.
All right.
Back
How many
pedal.
more do you think we'll do?
I'd be happy.
Will we get to 200? 300.
I hope so. Maybe.
I sure hope so. I need more practice because I keep fumbling over my words.
Screwing it up.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll keep trucking along. I have too much fun doing this, and I don't know if it's just me sitting here talking to myself. One
Are
of
you
these
guys
days.
sick of us out there?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I was-
We're having everybody's saying yes.
I was hoping at some point that we would just keep on doing this till I actually retire, because
Hey.
that's when I can actually like have fun with Lance, is when I'm retired.
Yeah.
Which I'm planning on like
Any day now.
I don't know, however many years.
Awesome. So, what we're going to do this week for number 200 is a little hot seat.
Hot seat?
Hot seat, but we usually run around the table and we ask each other questions, right?
Yeah.
We're not going to do that this week, guys. Guess what? We're
have
going to take
more
some
intelligent
questions from more intelligent people like Matt said, our audience here. So,
People that are actually entertaining.
we kind of prefaced them to that. So, I'm going to say out there, if anybody's got a show of hand, anybody got a question for us?
Ooh, we should just
That-
call
this
the
is like my
audience. There should be,
worst.
We call on
Okay,
them.
That's a hot seat
Oh,
question.
look at
Okay,
this.
here we go.
We got
Colleen.
one.
Brandy's gonna.
Oh, this is going to be
No,
brutal.
come up, Brandy. You're gonna come up and ask.
Oh, she's got
right-
2. That's
Two
good.
questions.
Here's what we're gonna have. Brandy's gonna ask the question, and then you have to leave so we can say terrible things about you. And then you get to pick something out of the basket over there for all your goodie.
For Lance.
Oh, wow.
Got like Lenten stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
Please state your name and your importance to the to us personally, and then ask us your question.
I'm the Lance Wrangler,
Yeah.
Brandy Hepler.
This is my wife.
Hello. My question is, what is your most embarrassing thing that happened on the bike? Like, have you fallen at a stop sign?
Ooh, that's a good question.
That's a great
I
question.
got several.
Thank you, Brandy.
Brandy, pick something out of the goodie box.
So the question is what's the most embarrassing thing that has happened to you while on a bicycle?
Well, mine's easy.
Go for it.
I was doing that cyclocross race at Trophy Cup like 3 years ago, and I was.
I remember this.
Was that Trophy Cup or short track?
It was Trophy
No.
Cup.
Was it short? Okay.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, because I had dismounted and I was remounting the bike, and I caught my crotch area on
Right.
the seat as I was remounting, and just forced it and jumped on the bike. Didn't realize it. I had completely blown out the crotch.
You didn't realize there was any extra ventilation or nothing, extra sensitivity in that area.
I did not. I finished the whole race, and I was
fully exposed.
I was Lance No Pants. Now I wasn't like fully. I wasn't. That was where
What
the
a
Lance
good
No
question.
Pants kind
What a
of
good question.
ended up coming from.
If you search long and hard on social media somewhere, you will find a
There's
picture of this.
pictures of it.
And there's a picture. I can't remember why we used the Russian flag, but we put the Russian flag over
the sensitive area.
Yeah.
Why
So
the
you can see your
Russian?
giblets?
Yeah. Why the Russian flag?
Yeah,
That's
we
a-
just go
I
back
can't
as to
remember. I
why-
gotta go back and listen to the podcast as to why that was, but
I remember I finished the race and I pulled in and I went to go talk to the guys I was racing with, like, "Hey, you guys, that was a great race." And the first thing they said was, "Dude, put some pants on."
There are children here, Lance.
Go get- and I looked down. I was
The
like,
juniors
"Oh
race
my
is about to
God."
start.
I could not. Yeah,
Accompanied by a cop.
that was. I don't know if I was embarrassed or proud, but it's just I was embarrassed.
You're like, I'm Italian.
I have no Italian in me. I'm English and Norwegian or something.
yeah. How about you, Evan?
I actually could think of one that literally happened last weekend. So me and Cassie are on her first ever gravel ride, and her so we're going up one of the climbs near Anderson's Peak, and Dustin's way out ahead of us, and Cassie thinks I'm staying back with her because I want to make sure that she's safe. Sure, yeah, no, I was staying back with her because I'm trying to learn how to ride a mountain bike, basically. And we were worried all day that Cassie was going to be the one that was going to crash at some point. And we're going up this climb. The gravel gets very, very chunky. And I try to switch lines and eat it bad while she is still just going plenty fine up the climb. And she thinks that she's the one who caused the crash. So she's apologizing to me. She gets off the bike. She's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry I crashed you." I was like, "No, I just literally just lost my
I
front
just
wheel
fell over.
and just went down at 2 miles an hour."
Those slow crashes.
It
are
was
funny.
it was the slowest crash. It was such a slow crash.
I have a slow crash story. It's just a little bit embarrassing, but I was going up this super steep. I was pacing Bob Croucher, who
Sure.
you guys know.
I know
Oh,
him.
yeah.
Yeah, you guys all know him.
all know.
And he was doing this like running race thing. It was kind of like a triathlon, and I was just happened to like I was biking over to the pool, and I caught up to him, and he was doing the run part, so I'll bike with you. You know, he was way out in the lead, and I was biking with him, and I had this heavy backpack on because it's all my swim stuff. And we start climbing these like really steep sidewalks that are back on Prune Hill. I don't know if you guys should check these things out. They're the steepest things I've ever seen.
I've gone up some bike trails back there that are super steep.
At one point, I ran out of gears, and I literally just fell.
Straight back.
Fell backwards.
Not over
You,
on the
like,
side.
looped
Straight
it?
back.
Front tire came off the ground?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Front tire came off the ground.
That's impressive, man.
It was very
Because he was
a slow
top
crash.
heavy from
for the
from
backpack.
the backpack.
The backpack, and it was a soft. It was a
The
soft
backpack-
crash.
yeah, so-
because the
so the
backpack was
backpack-
there.
so- oh, great.
And it was
That's
like
good.
it was almost like a roll. Like you just kind of like rolled off.
Was
into
your
the
swim
side.
stuff in the bag?
Yep, swim stuff was
That's
in the back.
perfect. That's
It was-
very soft.
It's
Yeah.
a lot of soft stuff.
Yeah.
yeah, it was reasonable. I don't even think that was that embarrassing because it was
Did you
just
like chuck the bike?
Bob
to,
was
just,
like
launch
racing.
the bike?
No, I mean, because I was like clipped in, and I kind of just like rolled, like the bike kind of ended up on top of me. But Bob did kind of he was like, "Are you all right?" He was like mid race.
Mid-race.
But I have more embarrassing stories. I think the most embarrassing thing that like everyone can relate to is learning to clip in, and that's just. It's embarrassing. It's tough. It's like it's the rite of passage.
You're gonna
Yeah.
fall over at a
Everybody
stoplight
should
in,
fall.
in front of
Yeah.
all the traffic.
and it's going to hurt your
Yeah.
pride.
Yeah.
You know, and I did that for sure. I remember getting,
Yeah.
on the 205 bridge. But I remember like making it through this little loop that I used to do. It was, 15 miles or something like that. And being like, yes, made it home. Like clip in pedals. I got this. And I roll into the different cul-de-sac where I used to live, not the one that I'm at now, and but still here in Washington. And you've got all of your neighbors there, and not like everyone was standing around watching me, but like pull into the cul-de-sac and then just tip
fell
right,
right
over.
over.
And that hurts. Those hurt the pride.
I did it once at PIR after a race.
I remember that. Yeah.
Oh.
That was because you were
where
telling us.
I had like a really good race where I took like second in the final sprint, and I'm all pumped and I'm all jacked up, and I ride back over to the whole group of like 30 people to like
high fives.
glow. I don't know. I'm like, hey guys, check out how cool I am, and I rolled up and promptly couldn't clip out and fell right over.
Clipping out is
Right in
hard.
front of everybody.
Clipping
That's
out
so
is the hardest part of cycling. arguably.
It's same story. I
was hoping for a poop story.
Yeah, nobody has a. I peed on a bike once and sprayed my pee to the guy behind me, who then yelled at me.
Oh, that happened to you in a race?
That did.
That
happened in a race. Yeah.
Get off my wheel, man.
That was my thing. Is like, you're clearly drafting that if I'm peeing on you, but yeah.
Sorry, Jake.
I thought for sure Jake at some point like didn't quite make, because Jake at 20 minutes into every single outdoor ride Jake's ever done, you always got to use a restroom.
That probably is one of the more embarrassing things, is how small my bladder is. Everybody
knows
that.
all
Like
know it?
20 to 30 minutes into every single ride.
Jake's got to pee.
Sorry, guys. Sprint ahead.
Yeah.
Pull over, use the bathroom. Was it you the first time that we rode together? We're doing a long ride.
This is a me embarrassing story, but it's funny told from you because it goes off. So.
And everybody knows, and we're doing a ride. We're going up like McGillivray or something like that, and I just sprint off the front because I'm going to go up there before we get to Blandford because there's a nice little spot to pull over. I know all the spots. If you ever need to use the bathroom on a bike,
I know the spot on Blandford.
Yeah.
That's a great spot.
Yeah. So I sprint off the front because we're doing this big ride. There's probably
Huge
like
ride.
30, 40 people there.
Probably more at that rate. It was
maybe
a lot.
that.
Yeah.
And I just start going, and Dustin's up there too, and he knows exactly where I'm going,
Yeah.
and I'm off the front. And
I've
I'm going to use the
been here
bathroom.
like 2 weeks. Like
And
I
Evan-
just moved
Evan
here.
gets
Yeah.
out of the saddle and starts chasing me
sprint.
down, and Dustin's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah, it was,
So
Dustin very colorfully screamed at me for like a while about that, and then we were best friends after that.
But yeah, my most embarrassing story easily is it's a clip-in story, or not clipping out rather.
Yeah.
I can remember the first time I got a set of pedals. I had it on an old mountain bike that I had, and I used to go ride on the beach all the time. This was probably when I was like 18 or 19 years old.
The pride is very fragile at
Yeah.
that age.
Yep.
That's right.
Come up to an intersection in Encinitas on the Pacific Coast Highway on a Saturday in the middle of the day, and yes, there's a lot of traffic out there.
Yeah.
Come up to the sign to stop, and I'm like, oh, crap, I forgot to pedal out. I couldn't get it, and he fell over right in front of everybody, and you could hear people in their cars laughing. And you just kind of get up, you dust yourself off, and you go down the side street.
Wave. You just waved to everybody. Thank you.
Get up and thank you.
That's
thank
when
you very much. Yeah.
That's when you just ride onto the sidewalk. You're just like, that's okay. I'll just go on the sidewalk now.
Yeah, when you're 17 or 18, you don't have any of that like wave. Like I can be cool. I can play.
Right.
Yeah.
You're just
Nope.
like, oh no, I'm gonna cry.
You're totally embarrassed.
All right, we got another question from another listener, Carlos. Thank you, sir. Come on up.
Howdy, guys. I like to listen to stories, so tell us a story about your first bike.
Ooh.
First bike.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead, Lance.
40 years ago.
Yeah, right. Let me think. Actually, the first bike I ever owned was when I was probably a freshman in college. So I didn't really ride when I was a teenager.
Loser.
But
No, that's because you did track.
I did track. I did soccer and track when I was.
Oh, you played
younger.
soccer?
I did play
I
soccer.
didn't know that. Were you good?
Yeah, I was
Let's be
excellent.
honest. Let's be honest.
Of course, he was. Of course.
He was pretty good, Brandy. Okay, I can believe that.
No, I was terrible.
I could see he was a very good track athlete, so I can believe that.
I was living in Utah at the time because I went to BYU, and me and my buddy Ryan Lee had gone to Moab in the late 80s to ride the Slick Rock Trail. And because
that was your first like bike ride?
Yeah.
Wow.
We wanted a mountain bike. It was like, we want to check this out. And after that one ride in Moab, I ended up buying
You're hooked.
mountain bike. Yeah, I was hooked. So
Flats or clip-ins?
I can't remember for the life of me. So
I mean, it was
probably
a long
flats.
time ago. So
Yeah,
it was a very
I'm
long
sure it was
time ago.
flats.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm amazed you can even remember that story, honestly.
How about you, Evan?
I'll go with my first road bike, which was the blue Allay bike, which actually died on a team ride. Which
Is it
Wait,
dead?
you still have it?
I still have it
still have
hanging.
the frame.
But its last ride was when finally a cable and the derailleur literally broke off mid-ride, which it was
And we
time.
can't find parts for that piece
No.
of junk
No,
anymore.
because that was a 9-speed, and I
was
never
it-
wanted to upgrade it. So
Bring
Was
it
it
to
out
me.
of
I
the-
will fix it.
Was it out of Vancouver Lake?
No, that was actually up on Sky, I think, Road Climb.
Okay.
Yeah. But that bike I got my actually freshman year in college, just like Lance. And I got it from the shop that I worked at, actually, at that time, which was pretty cool. That was that shop was owned by Bob Duncan and was at that time called Go Fast Multisport. And love that shop. I think I rode that bike just because it reminded me of that shop. But that was...
That's cool.
Yeah, that was...
That's fun.
I rode that bike till very recently, actually, probably 3 years ago now.
So my first road bike, was also Specialized Allay.
Yeah.
Allay,
The blue?
It looks like Allez. But
It's Allay because
right?
Allay is
named
go,
French.
go in French.
Okay.
That's
So
like, Allay, Allay, Allay. Whenever they yell that, it's go, go, go.
I've heard it.
Like you can speak French, Evan.
I can say Allay. That's it.
So I had like a doctor's appointment, and the doctor was like, "Your Achilles is not good," and he was like, "Why don't you take 3 months off of running?" Because I was running like every day, but I was only running like 2 miles.
Post college.
This was
post Colorado.
This is basically 11 years ago. This is the. I mean, I had
Okay.
bikes when I was like 4 or 5.
I still
but I'm
don't
not
remember if
I'm not
that's
telling that story.
post college. Yes, it is.
Yeah, I'm pretty old.
No, you're not.
I look. Can't you tell by the way I look? Yeah. So the doctor was like, "Yeah, take 3 months off," and I was like, "I'm gonna go buy a bike and I'm gonna find a pool to swim in," because I thought triathlon, right? That might be a thing, and and so I got on. It wasn't eBay, but it was Craigslist. Thank you, and found a bike that looked pretty good. No, you don't know anything when you're just like, I didn't have any friends that biked or anything like that. I was just like, I'm going to buy a bike. It was too big for me, but it was still like carbon frame with the, carbon frame
composite
aluminum
is what they put on there.
And
Yeah.
they're like, they do the fork is aluminum,
Yep.
right? So, so we had similar bikes, just mine was too big.
Yeah.
But that bike I used for, I think 3 years, even though it was too big. Did my first triathlon with it, maybe all the way until I did a half Ironman or something like that. Great bike.
Wow.
Absolutely. Those things
It
are
was
tanks.
white and blue.
I crashed that thing so many times.
You know what's nice about
So
that? So I
many
bought
times.
it used, and then when you go to resell the used bike, there's just not that much like margin there. Like you're going to end up selling it for roughly what you paid for it.
Yeah, right.
There's not, I mean, once it's pretty cheap, there's not much further down it can go.
Yeah.
So cheap bikes, cheap used bikes.
Sweet.
Jake.
I'm going to go a little bit further back than that. I grew up when I was a kid on a citrus farm in the hills of Fallbrook, California.
Sounds like the start of
We've
a book.
seen
Been
that.
there.
Seen the
Correct,
house.
Been there.
So there's this old bike that I rode, and I've posted a picture of it up before, and you'll see me wearing no shirt.
Yeah, this is a shirt.
I'm wearing
with Jake pics.
jeans.
I remember this.
And I'm
What
wearing
are-
no shoes.
What are you like? 8 years old?
Well,
10?
hold on.
Okay.
I'm not talking about that bike. I'm going even older.
Oh.
This bike, the steer tube went straight up into we'll call it the stem. There is no stem. It just went straight into the bars. And so that was over. And that's what I learned to ride on. And I was riding this thing all over this citrus farm. It was like 50 acres. And it was just kind of rolling all over the place. So that's kind of where I cut my teeth. Fast forward to family doesn't do the citrus farm anymore. We moved to Rainbow, California, where we've gone to do a training camp before,
Yes.
right?
Oh,
so
okay.
we're out there, and my parents knew how much I loved to ride a bike, and we're in a newer area, and it's time to kind of upgrade, and it's probably right around 1980 to 82, somewhere in there. I'd have to go back and double check.
You
I
remember
got...
that? You remember it well. don't you?
I was in high school.
Lance was already a dentist.
I was already professional.
Yeah. Retired that year.
So I get a surprise. Wasn't for my birthday. I don't even remember what it was for, but we come home one day, and there it is, Schwinn Stingray. The thing was
Red.
legit. And it was an awesome bike.
I
And
wanna see this picture.
I'll show you the picture. I'll pass it around the
Yes.
table.
Oh my God, the handlebars. Yes.
So
the
again,
banana seat.
Coaster brake and a banana seat.
Yep.
Yeah.
Again,
Pass that around
no
the crowd.
shoes, wearing jeans.
Did you
No
watch-
T-shirt, the bowl haircut, and I used to ride that thing all over the
Did you
place.
watch Chips a lot?
And
when you were,
wait,
like, cruising
the
around in
haircut
California?
is the best.
Yeah.
It's like a full-on
Got to bring that back.
bowl cut. You should bring.
That's
do
like a
not bring
shaggy
that
bowl
back.
cut, though. That was
Nice.
That's more of a California bowl cut. That was
So
cool.
this was actually Schwinn number 2, though. The first one was more of a yellow and green and chrome, and I only had that bike for 2 weeks because I rode it to the local mart where we have stopped and had
We
a
have
little
stopped and had
Coca-Colas.
That
and-
thing,
Cokes at the
that thing
little
got jacked.
mart.
For
had
sure,
it for 2
didn't it?
weeks. I walked into the store to get something, and in there for less than a minute, came out, and the bike was gone.
We talked about that on a podcast. We
Yes.
talked about like
We
bikes
did.
that had been stolen or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyhow, that was that bike was near and dear to me because this was well before internet, obviously, and well
Yeah.
before GoFundMe, but it was like a crowdsourced thing. Everybody found out that my bike had been stolen. They kind of pooled in money, and
Oh wow.
family was able to go buy me another one because at the time we didn't have
you-
much money or any money at all. So
Do you remember your local bike shop name at that time?
yeah, Fallbrook Cycle and Hobby.
Nice.
Wait,
Yes.
no. Wait,
The
it's-
vacuum.
Well, it's something
and
different now.
vacuum.
And vacuum.
It's, like
It's a
and
different
vacuum.
It's a
location.
vacuum cleaners.
Bikes and
We
vacuums
did this
and more,
training
or something
camp,
like that.
and there was a bike store / vacuum cleaner store that we stopped at.
It was so
It was the
janky.
only- It was the only one one in town.
And they were supposed to open up at 9 o'clock in the morning. It's like 10 o'clock. We're trying to call them like, oh, sorry, we just got out of court. It's like, what?
we needed a tire for somebody or a
Me.
It was for Jake.
Oh, sorry. I think Jim was supposed to be there. He hasn't shown up yet.
But they did have vacuum
He's been here in a month.
Yeah.
All right, we've got another listener up here. Julie.
This is Juliana.
Hello, Julie.
Juliana.
My future daughter-in-law.
Ooh.
She's going to marry my daughter, Darby. Now you're stuck in the family.
Oh no, it's recorded.
I feel like the hardest decision had to be having Lance as your father-in-law. Like that had to be the one sticking point.
Yeah, I'm also known as the couch surfer that shows up on university breaks. So looking back on the last 200 episodes, what are each of your guys' favorite ways that you've seen your podcast grow? And knowing what you know now, what would you do differently?
Oh, good
Oh,
question.
wow.
Oh, God. Okay, that second question is going to take a long time. But
That's deep.
Good question. Good question. You know what's interesting is when we first started the podcast, even before Lance, he was there, episode 3, we sat down and like started goofing off. And I just thought that was important for us to just start with goofing off. And I always thought that the quality that Jake put together of the podcast was good. Like the recordings were good. Like we've changed out microphones and we've changed out equipment and things like that. But the quality has always been excellent. And it hasn't changed. The format hasn't changed all that much. No. I mean, we've brought in, like, it wasn't that long before we brought in like the backpedal piece, and
the backpedal piece was real early.
It was
like,
pretty early. And you know, obviously the whole like talking about recent sports activity, that's
Lead out news.
Lead out news was, I don't remember when we started that. It was kind of, we had a discussion like, should we talk about this
I think
stuff?
that was my thing for a bit, and then you just are way more charismatic than me.
Yeah,
so
we
you
were
just
just
took
talking
over.
about
Yeah.
adding-
I probably just took it over.
Probably. You just added it to your back pedal. Yeah.
Like,
We just started adding bits and bits, but I remember when we first started doing these, I'm like, all right, we're going to talk about this and this and this. And like, we would have, no joke,
We
like
had
4 or
printouts.
5 topics. And I did printout sheets for every single week. And we were talking about everything. And like, my God, if we actually talked about all these things, these podcasts would be 4 hours long. So we definitely trimmed those down to like, all right, we need to just do one thing because we could talk about anything.
And now it's like, we sit down to record. And I'm like, what are we going to talk about?
Yeah.
Super.
And we,
I
we
used to
come up with a
I used to
topic,
take
like-
notes like on the. I would come in with notes and like I remember on the first couple. I'd even if we were talking about any topic that like needed research, I would actually try and cite research. And I was like,
full
no,
disclosure,
cares?
it's not we sit down every time. Most of the time, I give you guys a heads up as to this is
he
what we're
always
going to talk
texts us in the
about, or
morning,
I'll say, hey, what does everybody want to talk about? And if
Yep.
I'm feeling like I don't want to do anything, or I'm like, oh crap, I forgot to come up with a topic, hot seat.
Hot
Yeah.
seat's good.
Yeah, that's the go-to.
Like
we
what we're
were-
doing right now.
Well,
Or
and
I
we're-
try to snipe a triathlon topic, one or the other.
Yeah, I feel like for a while there, we were doing hot seat once a month, and it like worked out pretty well. Where it was like about every 4 weeks or so, we would try and make that happen. And that I don't remember when we started doing that, but I like those are probably some of my favorite episodes.
They're fun
because they are fun.
They're fun. You know, one thing that I love is that there's 4 of us. It's not just Jake trying to interview different people or come up with different things, but there's 4 of us. And so we've all become very close and very tight friends throughout all this. So
That's
half
true.
of this is just us making fun of each other.
Exactly.
Which is also
It's the social
really
hour.
quite fun. It's a
Yeah.
social hour for us. It's like
It
therapy for us, and it's nice that when somebody's gone or
therapy
can't quite.
that's a good thing to talk about because we've all been through some stuff,
Yes.
you know, and we've all had some trials and tribulations that we've had to deal with. For me, that's been huge. I mean, these past 3.5 years have been hard, and I'm sure my wife will tell you that I can get a little cranky at times, and I'm always complaining about things hurting, and you know, you're sore and upset because you know this, that, and the other, and not being able to compete and being who you want to be. That sucks.
Yeah.
But getting to sit here and come talk to you guys and kind of like live vicariously through you to a certain degree and just kind of talk about the things that we've got going on in our lives that's been good for me.
Yeah.
If I didn't have this, I'd probably be in a much worse place. So thank you.
Dark place.
Yeah, I think that's actually the coolest part of it is I don't think I agree with Matt. The quality of the podcast has always been there. I think it's as the last 200 podcasts has gone, we've all gone through a lot. So the podcast has just grown as we've gone through stuff through. I mean, the podcast has been going through 2020, which was obviously not something when we started this. We thought we'd have to be talking about at any point. But I think that was really cool to still have some social outlet there and some, you know, connection to people during that time. And I know that my biggest regret has been when the clinic got busy was me having to pull away from being on here consistently. And that's actually in 2022. Some I hope that I don't have to do again is can stay consistent with this and not let that work-life balance
But
get
you
out
also
of
know
balance
in the
again.
same breath that we're okay with that.
Oh, yeah.
If you need to step
And
aside,
you understand.
Yeah.
And you guys were always the most supportive of that. It's just I think I had to realize after this last year that like the this is a massive social part for me too, and that's
Yeah.
I need to balance that social
Yeah.
because you know as anybody who does endurance sports like everybody in this room does, it's you can get very socially isolated sometimes.
Sure.
And it's hard to pull yourself out of that.
Sure.
True.
How about you, Matt?
I 100% agree. 100% on the social side. I don't have a lot of friends.
None of us do.
So, and I do feel like this
What
is
about
it.
all those ladies and gentlemen over the internet?
They're on the internet, you know. What about your girlfriend from a different school?
What about your 10,000 followers though?
It's been really, really nice to just be able to sit down and chat. And I tell my wife all the time, I'm like, that's my social hour. Like this is it. This is my social. This is what I get.
We don't go to this might be shocking to you all. We don't go to the bars
I
on
don't-
Friday and Saturday night.
Actually, Matt, I
don't get
as
out much.
busy as you are with young kids. I'm surprised at how often you make it to this because you're busy.
It's not just the young kids. It's like coaching the cross country.
Yes. And
It's traveling
his
over
work.
to Swooshy Land.
Yes.
It's making
have-
videos.
I'm not good at any of it.
Here's the key: be
So.
C- at everything, and you can do a
Yes.
lot of things.
You can do a lot of things C-. Yep.
For me, there's so many things that I love about it. But I'm going to answer the second question first. What would I change? I wouldn't change anything. The only thing that I would change is I'd love to be able to do more of these, like to do more than just one a week. That'd be fantastic. It doesn't have to be a long format type of thing, but I don't know. I guess that's kind of where the YouTube stuff's going to come into place.
We need like $100,000 a year sponsor. Is
Oh,
what
there
we
you go,
need.
yeah,
That's what I would change.
I mean, Costco, just strung us along
We
for
have
the
been-
longest time.
We have been drinking Kirkland since day one.
mean-
I've sent them 400 emails. This is ridiculous.
They never pay their invoices.
I don't
they
even
only
think
bill
Polar
them.
has an email address. They started in what year was this? Like 1872.
Pre-internet, pre-email.
Yeah, going back to some of the things though that I really enjoy about the show, the things that I'm proud of, is the fact that I think that it's helped the community grow even closer together, and it helps people get connected and helps us connect better with the community. And
Sure.
I'm really big about that. I want our community to be looked upon and be kind of like the beacon for all others communities, if you will, to say, hey, let's be more like that. Let's do more like what this group is doing. So if we can help do that just by putting this out there and creating this common thread for people, I think that would be fantastic to keep doing that.
I think it's an awesome, easy way for people beginning the sport to listen to these, to watch your YouTube videos, to get an introduction into the sport instead of, I was just having a conversation with somebody recently talking about, and this is not calling out the Portland cycling scene, but how this specific person, I won't say their name, believed that the Vancouver scene that they had seen in Camas was much more welcoming to beginners than the Portland scene was.
So let me kind of expand upon that a little bit. We started doing this little weekly vlogging ride, if you will, and I can't tell you how many people who have come up to me and said, thank you for the podcast, and that's how they heard about that. That gave them the courage to come out and ride with us. And then not only did they come out and ride, but they might have gotten their backside handed to them in the first couple rides, but they came back religiously every single week, got stronger, got faster, and then that helped them kind of connect with the racing community and do something that they may never have done before, and that's pin on a number and race for the first time. So that makes me happy. If we can have that cause and effect, come here and sit down and have fun doing what we're doing, and have people go out there and ride with us and then start racing and really just help bolster the cycling community. That's kind of what I'm talking about.
I've had the similar experience going to all the different races that
Yes.
I've been able to do in this last year. Almost every race I go to, somebody will come up to me that I don't know, don't recognize, and say, "Hey, I listened to the podcast and I love what you guys do, and thank you so much. It's really helped me in my cycling," and
to springboard off that even more, it blows my mind when I go back and look at some of the analytics. So, like thousands of people downloading and listening to the podcast on a weekly basis blows my mind. The fact that
all over the world, which is really weird.
34 different countries the last time I counted.
I think that's fake.
Fake news.
Fake news.
Fake news.
Totally.
Didn't we have what was it? Your thing
What
for
was
a
it?
while.
I'm big in-
we would
where
like,
are you
yeah,
big? I'm big in New Zealand.
Whatever new
I'm
country.
huge
I'm
in
huge
New
in Iceland. Yeah.
Everybody loves me in Iceland.
That's just fantastic. And then just the ability to go out there and meet new people too. I mean,
Yes.
It's fun to meet new people, have people come on the podcast, and I'm a naturally curious person when it comes to what other people are up to, and be able to sit down and talk with them. That's fantastic. So that was a good question. Thanks, Julian.
Thanks, Julian.
So, all right, we've got another question here from Mr. Mike Reddick.
Mike here, long time caller, first time listener.
Yeah.
I just have two questions. One is more about personal appearance and hygiene. It's about facial hair.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're all kind of generic right now.
That's kind of an important.
Evan, you're going total car salesman.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Used car salesman. Thank you.
So, what is the plan for the new year? Is
big
it going to be
plans.
synchronized?
This
or
is an
it
important
all-
question.
Oh, wow.
And the second question, as a team, Washougal Motocross was a great race. Is there any specific plans for Dial to support or run their own races, or work with all of the wonderful race organizers we've talked to get more things out there?
Oh, great question. Yeah.
Great
Good
question.
questions.
Might have some answers for you.
But most
Mike.
importantly, the facial hair first. Okay.
Facial hair first.
So whatever you want us to do, Matt can have it done by tomorrow.
It's
so
Matt can grow facial hair
So,
faster
I feel
than
like-
anybody I know.
It's one of the most important questions that we breach on this podcast.
It is.
We talk about facial hair here every week.
That's
So-
because
We
I
devote at least
I
a
feel
half
like
an hour.
I've been the most committed to my consistent bad mustache at the
I don't
table.
know, Lance.
So I think the problem is a lack of consistency here. We have Lance, who had a great
well,
mustache,
I went full
You
comic
did.
corn.
and now it's like coming
was
back. Now it's like coming back with like a little white and orange and
mix,
brown.
pepper.
I'm
What-
really confused.
whatever facial hair I have, my wife hates. Look at
Why
her
does it take-
glaring back there. She's still glaring.
What if he did just the handlebars, no mustache? So then we could all take different. Oh, what's it? What if we all take a different portion of what would be considered a full facial?
No, she's still glaring at me.
Wait, there was one episode. Wasn't there one episode where we all came with mustaches?
Yeah,
It was just. It
What
was
was
just
that?
out of
Was
the
it for
Jake
blue.
ever
Lance?
shaved
Were we
down to
giving
a
Lance
mustache?
a hard time, or were we giving Jake a hard time?
Does Jake have a goatee technically? What is?
No, I just
what is
Jake's
it?
is
facial
more
hair.
Exactly.
like just laziness.
Jake, 100%. So I moved to Washington almost
What
7
would
years
Becca
ago.
sign off on though? What would?
I've
How
moved-
far can he go? She doesn't care. So this is.
The longest I've ever gone without like shaving
Yeah.
is 7.5 years.
It's just.
What?
He just
However,
how
I
much
use
did it
clippers.
cost?
I use
Oh,
clippers.
wait.
Okay.
I was gonna say,
The longest
did you
I usually
start
go
shaving
there's
at 7
week-
years old, Jake.
Week and a half. I can't grow a full beard. I can do this stuff up here okay, but
Yeah.
I just don't. I don't do the
See, this
mustache
is where
thing.
if you clean there and then just here.
I did
you're
a
just
handlebar
solid.
mustache once for Shabadoo. Like after I got hit by the
Oh,
car,
that's
I was
awesome.
supposed to because he beat me in a time trial or something like that, and I was supposed to pay the piper. So I had nothing better to do. So while I was like
was a lost
broken,
bet.
yeah, took a picture of it, sent it, and then promptly cut it off. So that's about as crazy and I got. So
Yeah.
I feel like one.
Is
one
Kristen in
podcast we
full
just-
support of mustache?
She doesn't care. She doesn't want to look
She
at
doesn't
me.
care. Okay.
I don't
Tough.
blame her.
It's tough times.
Yeah.
It's tough times at the LeGrand house.
You are
Sometimes
hard.
I'll like
You're hard to
have a
look at.
full beard like this, and then I'll shave, and then she won't notice for a couple days. She'll admit to it. She'll admit to it. She's like, "Oh, when did you cut your hair? You did
last
beard?
week.
Oh, beard. Okay.
Oh,
Do
weird.
any of the three kids like hate anything specifically?
They don't care either.
See, I could see Dash like particularly really not liking one. Yeah.
They don't care.
For all that time that I had that ridiculous
Stash.
like
It was beautiful.
mustache. With
By
the
ridiculous, do you mean
Yeah, beautiful.
gorgeous?
Thank you, Matt. Thank you very much. My wife's one comment to me was, "When is your face not going to be a joke?"
And you're like, and you're.
I'm like, well, I'm keeping it forever
You're
now.
like, let's see, 40 years.
How long have I been alive? Yeah. You thought I was being serious here?
Kind of been rolling with this joke for a while here.
I can't roll with it. All
so,
right.
what are we gonna do with our facial hair? I don't know.
Oh, we need.
No. We need an answer for
We,
this.
we need to come back to the actual.
There is no
the more
plan,
serious.
Mike.
question.
What would you like to see?
I will
Mr.
come up
Reddick?
with a plan, Mr. Reddick. Yeah.
Mutton
Mutton
chops.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I don't know.
I-
This
I need to
full
start
beard I'm
focusing on
sporting
that.
now took me like 3 months to grow this.
That took 3 months.
Oh,
What you have
yeah.
right now.
I am not Matt LeGrand.
Matt's like, hold my beer.
I know. You go
That
in the
is
back
so
and
bad.
just come back with the full beard, Matt.
The second question was races. What races are we interested in putting on? What races are we interested in helping out with?
So, from a team perspective, we will be circling the wagons to do the Michael Myers time trial. So
Yep.
we want to do that, the
Wow.
Michael Miles Memorial Time Trial. We had everything lined up with the City of Vancouver. All the licenses and permits were done, and everything was booked with everybody, and we were going to be rolling in, I think it was April of 2020. So we all know how that ended, and we just put a pin in it. Didn't think that last year was a good year to come back and do that yet, because we wanted to come off without any kind of restrictions. So that is one thing. We will be working with Scott Schultz again from Zone 5. He's got a bunch of things up his sleeve in terms of races that he wants to put on.
He's got 5 or 6 races he's going to do next year.
And he's asked us if we could come and kind of step up and help out from a team perspective.
Yeah.
And I'm still waiting for him to kind of finalize what they're trying to do, because I think he's still trying to figure out exactly what he wants to put on, what's going to be the most widely participated race. I don't know if it's necessarily going to be road racing. He wants to do that, and he's been all about that, but it's going to be a hard one to get people to actually come out and participate in, but we would like to see that. So if we can help support it, we will. The cyclocross stuff, we'll definitely want to help him out with that again. And then I've actually been in communication and started having lines of talk with the city of Camas as well as the Downtown Camas Association about bringing back a couple different races. So they are all ears, and they've expressed interest, and we're supposed to sit down and have a meeting here within the next week or two.
What would that like road race?
Yeah, what are we
talking?
like?
Well, I told them that we have the ability to put on a road race. We can do a crit. I wanted to talk to them about cyclocross. Matt and I have talked about that before.
Oh, that's true.
Can we have
the cross
climbs?
country?
Please have climbs.
So
there you go. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I won't be participating in that. And we've talked about time trialing, and I said there's gravel, but that's not necessarily in Camas proper. But there's gravel stuff that we can do about here. So
There's a lot of
they were
gravel
very
options.
interested in it. They know what we've got going on with our juniors program, and we've got huge plans for our juniors program in 2022. So they want to be a part of that process. So stay tuned for more on that information. That's going to be a lot of fun. So.
Cool.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, we got Randy Frost is going to join us for
A little question here, Randy. What you got, bud?
Hey guys, you know the answer to how many bikes should one have, right?
Sure, N plus one.
Right, N plus one. Okay,
I've heard
if you
that.
guys could only have one bike, only one.
Okay.
Good question.
Easy question,
Great.
but go ahead.
Great. I like that.
What you got,
Mine's-
Evan?
mine's
what's
easy.
Your
I know
time
what
trial
mine
bike?
is.
Your time trial bike?
No,
Time trial bike?
I actually love my SLR. I really love the SLR. So the team machine would actually be my one bike.
Okay,
Because
nice.
genuinely, I enjoy riding that bicycle more than anything.
Sure.
When I'm on the time trial bike, it feels like a job usually, and
yeah.
the SLR is like my fun bike. So I love that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yep.
How about you, Matt?
I actually probably rode my before it gave out on me, but I loved that time trial bike. I rode it all the time. I did quite a few like century rides and
You did
things
all
like that
of
on
our
that.
long rides with that.
But I definitely agree with Evan. The bike that makes the most sense is the road bike, because you can do group rides with it, and I really like doing our group rides whenever we get the chance to do those. And then I could race, triathlons and things like that on it as well. I am enjoying the mountain bike a lot. It's a lot of fun.
Mountain bikes are fun.
Yes,
But I could probably put it away if I had to and stick. If I just had to have
close
one
second.
bike, I would probably do the road bike. I think that one it just makes the most sense.
Gotcha. Yep.
mine's easy.
I think you and I are going to have the same answer here.
No, it is my gravel bike.
Yeah.
By far the BMC Oars, where I love. You can ride the Oars on the road. You can ride it on gravel. You can ride it on trails because it has a little bit of a like hardtailish geometry.
Yeah, mountain bike geometry
So
for sure.
you can do a little bit of everything with it. So
Would you? Okay, so let's say you had that bike and that was it. Would you ever switch out the tires or like have a wheel set or something to swap it out if you were
Sure.
going to do?
If I was gonna do just
more
a road
stuff?
ride, yeah.
Would you race with that?
like do a road race
You got one
with
bike.
that.
You got one bike and there's this race
Yeah.
over here. You like racing?
Yeah, you'd just have to put a bigger chainring on.
Yeah.
That's it.
We're both running a 46 tooth. It's a 1x drivetrain. We're
Yep.
running a 46 tooth, and I've got a 1052 cassette on the back of mine. Lance has a 1052. I said 1050, and you've got 1052.
Yeah.
If you put like a 48 or a 50 tooth on there, that bike's going to be serviceable on the road. It's not going to be the same geometry. It's not going to be like an aggressive position, but you could take around with maybe like a setback seat post. You could lengthen the stem maybe just a little bit if you had to. If you wanted to try and get a little bit more like aerodynamic, you could get some bars with some deeper drops.
Yeah,
you could do a lot of little things to make that. It's not
put
going to
some
be the
aero
same
bars on there.
Well, no, there's plenty of guys that do that for gravel racing.
I'll get you some aero bars for that bike.
Bring me on.
Don't worry.
Same answer. It's like picking a favorite child, but yeah, it's going to have to be the gravel bike just
Cool.
because it does everything. Like I can scratch all the itches. It's not going to be perfect in some arenas. I would definitely miss my road bike, I'd miss my mountain bike too, but that's the one for me.
That's a good question.
Agree.
So
That's a good question.
Good
Cool.
question, Randy. All right, next up we got Dylan Wiggins.
you guys might have heard Dylan. He was on the podcast a couple weeks ago.
What was that, like 2 or 3 weeks ago?
Dylan's the one that custom painted that stem that's over there.
And then we
sitting on
talked
that
about
shelf.
one of our recent podcasts. We talked about our favorite podcast over the past year. Bing, that was one of them.
Stop saying my name.
That was a big
I
one.
got Dylan Wiggins.
I got warrants in 4 states. Anyone listen to this, I'd be in huge trouble. So here's my question: of all the sporting amateur competition events, races you've done, let's keep it cycling related.
Oh man,
what's the most impressive athletic performance or skill you've seen? Like, is it bike handling? Is it the power they did? What's the thing you witnessed that made you go, holy moly, that person's amazing?
That's a great question.
Oh wow. Okay.
This does have to be cycling related. Okay, gotcha.
No,
Yeah.
I'm doing running.
Going 2 answers. There you go.
Yeah. When
You
when
guys
I
wanna
was
take a second to stew on that
Oh,
one.
I
Okay.
actually have mine right
Then
now.
go.
Oh man.
Oh, you got something
okay.
good.
Road race in Ohio in the threes field. The race was in Cincinnati. I forget the exact name of the race, but it had a lot of climbing in it. And there was a 14-year-old in our field in the threes named Spencer Petrov, who now rides for Cannondale's professional cyclocross team. And this kid came out on junior gearing, and I was in a one-person breakaway, as I did every race, because I can't sprint. So, of course, I'm going to go like on the very first lap. So I'm out there. I think Spencer's bridging up to me. No. Spencer comes up to me on the climb and doesn't even kind of like try to draft off me at any point. Goes on the opposite side of the left-hand road and flies by me like I am standing still. I obviously don't see him the rest of the race. He's gone. He won the race by a country mile. That was the most. He was 14 at that time. And I remember after that race, I was talking with my buddy Kit. And I mean, everybody kind of knew who Spencer was at that time. And that was when we all realized, why is he still in Ohio racing us? This doesn't make sense.
Coming out party there.
Somebody get him on some contract somewhere. And cyclocross ended up being the sport he did the best with and raced with Cannondale. So
nice.
Spencer, God, how old is Spencer now?
Is he still racing?
I think so. Yeah, and Spencer's early 20s now, mid 20s.
Cool.
That was a while ago. So yeah.
How about you, Matt?
I don't know. I got the running stories.
Go run because you
How about
have
this?
some. You have a very
I've got
cool
one. I'll let
running
you think a
story.
little bit more. I've got one. Early on, when I first moved here, I started doing some road racing stuff. There was a time when I wasn't on this team called Dialed Cycling. Raced for another team called Monster Media, and I remember being out there racing with Michael Myers. He and I actually drove down to the race, and it was good times. And I was basically told how that race was going to go down and what my role was going to be in said race, to be a lead out for the team captain on that race, which is fine. I just wanted to go out and race bikes and have fun. But it was the Cherry Pie Road Race. I went down and did that. I believe it was about 60 miles, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere in there. And I remember that we had the neutral car that rolled us out of town about a mile, and then the neutral car rolls away, and this guy like jumped out off the front and kind of followed the neutral car. I'm like, what's this guy doing? I'm like, do we need to go with him? Does anybody know who he is? And like, oh no, it's stupid. It's a fool's errand, Don't follow that guy. That was the last time we saw him.
He's gone.
He was gone. Like, he just like faded off into the sunset. And the gentleman's name was Adam Buckland, and he was an absolute monster. It was about a 2.5 hour race, and we went back and looked at his normalized power for the 2.5 hours. It was almost 360 watts.
What?
By
Oh
himself
my
off the front.
God.
Ex-pro mountain bike racer, raced for a lot of years, and he had moved back here, and he decided that he was going to try his hand at some road bike stuff as he was getting his fitness back, and just floated off the front, and we never saw him again. And it was a race for second place after that. And I did my job, and I did my lead out, and I got my guy in second place, and I think managed to end up coming in like 4th or 5th place. But it was a race where I had to go up to him after the race and pat him on the back and said, "That was well done, sir."
How much did he win by?
Oh, it was
Minutes.
like 4 or 5 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
It was a big field too.
Yeah.
I mean, there were some hitters in that field.
Yeah.
So it was pretty impressive. And then there's one other one that was impressive, but I wasn't there. I just heard the story, and it was our own Joey Joe Jr. Shabadoo out there at the
Dr. Chris Hannell.
Dr. Chris Hannell soloed from the start at Kings Valley, and I think Matt did the lady that basically started everybody off. I think Matt he did a little things like, all right, you all get going now. You guys go on. You guys can go now. You have to go back and listen to the podcast. You did a pretty funny thing. You probably don't remember it, but
he does.
I was there. I witnessed that.
So blew the whistle, and again, Chris just jumped off and never saw him again, right?
There was a little bit of team play on that.
Okay.
Because,
Yeah, that was the plan, right?
Well, but that was the plan, was we were going to let Hanel go from the gun.
Yeah.
But when they called us to line up, there were 8 of us dialed guys, and we all lined up right on the front line. And it was only like 9 people wide. So there wasn't really room for anybody else. So as soon as they blew the whistle, the 8 of us
chilled out,
rolled slow, and Hanel just was gone.
Yeah.
And he was gone before people noticed.
That's the best way to do it.
Oh, yeah.
That's
Because
the
they
best
were
way to do it.
all on the second or third row until somebody was like, hey, wasn't there another dialed guy? Huh? I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, he was gone. We never saw him again.
All right. Lance, what's your story?
I have had the distinct pleasure of racing with quite a few pros in the gravel races and been crushed promptly.
Sure.
So there's been lots of times where I have seen some incredible things where I was like on my limit and have just been blown away. But the one that really sticks with me thinking about this was actually at cyclocross at Alderbrook like 3 years ago. I was racing in the Master 1-2 field, and it was my second or third race in the Master 1-2 field, and I was like just trying not to be dead last in the Master 1-2 field because I was at that. I was like 48, so I wasn't old enough to be be in the 50+ field, but I couldn't. It was either race. I was a 2 in cyclocross. It was either race the Open 2-3s, which I get crushed at, or race the Master 1-2s, which I also get crushed at.
Either way.
So I remember about 3 laps into the race, I got lapped by the elite guy, Carl Decker.
Oh, geez.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Carl Decker catches me, and he's like, hey, I'm right behind you. And I'm like, what the hell? You have caught me already? And I see it's Carl, and I kind of know Carl because we've done some gravel races together. So I'm like, Carl, I can't believe that you're lapping me. And he's laughing. And then I'm like, I grew a mustache like you, Carl. Now my wife won't sleep with me anymore. And I was just trying to make him laugh. And now Carl hates me and won't talk to me anymore.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right, Matt, you come up with one?
I don't have much. I mean, I remember like first time I rode with you was hilarious because I think like there was. Do you remember Corey?
Oh yeah, he was just at the lab like 2 weeks ago.
You're kidding?
Yeah.
I haven't seen him in a while, but he like it was funny. He was like, "Hey," calls me up and he's like, "Hey, there's this new guy in town. I can't hang with him. Can you come ride with us? And that way you can ride with this guy and put him in his place or whatever." And
I love how that's what he thought was going to happen in his head. Yeah.
Yeah. And so Corey loves to climb, so he took us into Washougal Hills. In the Washougal Hills, that's where I first met you.
Yep.
And it did not go well. The first climb, I went hard, and Jake just rode next to me and talked to me, and then
he's at a conversational pace.
But it gets worse. Then after that point, I exploded, and Corey comes past me. It's like the whole rest of the ride was just over.
This is
except for
the
tears.
classic triathlete riding with actual road cyclists.
Yeah.
Is like,
it was tough
I
times.
think I'm pretty good at this.
It was tough times. I have some crazy running stories of running with some people that are just talent is a different way to describe it, right?
Drop the fastest name that you ran with.
For sure, this guy on my team. Well, I mean, actually, I rode with some guys that had I ran with some guys that had American records and things like that. But I think the most talented guy that I ever ran with was on my team. He and I both were injured right after cross country, so we were doing a lot of pool running together. He gets out and we go for a run, and it was 4 or 5 miles, and I was like, oh man, I'm so out of shape. We finish, and we had this University of Alabama trainer that drove a car to stay with us because they were keeping an eye on him. They didn't care about me at all. But he was like, you guys were going 5:30 pace for that whole thing or whatever. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. That's why it hurt so bad.
That's why it was so much pain.
That same weekend, so that was a Wednesday. That weekend they took him to Arkansas, I think, for him to run the mile, and he went 4:01 in the mile after not running for 3 months.
Just off the couch.
Just off the couch. And I was
out of shape 4:01. Yeah,
and I thought to myself, that's when you realize people are just talented enough.
A different level.
Think about this, all of mankind, it took us, till whatever it was, 1920 to break the 4-minute barrier. And this guy can basically just do it off the couch.
Yeah.
That's talent. and he was a multi-time NCAA champion and all that stuff. But
That's crazy.
It was cool to run with him, sort of.
I've had stories like that where I've been riding with Jake before.
Oh, please. Come on.
No, I'm not kidding. There was a time out at Vancouver Lake where I knew there was a sprint point coming up, and I'm on Jake's wheel, and I was
rode off it.
I was salivating. I'm like, I finally got him.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting in his draft. I'm just gonna sprint for the light right when I know it's ready. And so I'm just sitting there and I'm gearing up and I'm trying to get ready and I'm right on Jake's wheel. And Jake stood up and rode away from me.
Yeah, all my fastest times.
I'm going as fast as I can.
And the draft is gone.
And the draft I was like,
and the wind's there.
Okay, I guess.
Yeah, all my fastest times are beyond Jake's wheel.
Yep.
Once upon a time. Uh-oh. I don't know if I want to
yeah.
hear this.
Oh, no, this could be good.
We got
This could
Beck.
be good.
We got Jake's wife here. Please give us something good.
Am I the last one? Am I the last question? Figure we'd
We're hitting the hour now.
I think she is.
Bookmark it
Yeah.
with the wives here.
This is actually perfect, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So my question, we've talked about doing like a significant other takeover, kind of
yeah.
like triathlon
Yeah.
takeover.
Uh-oh.
And I'm wondering what you guys are worried about your significant others might share, like dirty little secret or annoying habit or something related to bikes. You could do running too, Matt. That's okay.
Yeah. My wife's like, oh.
I already know the one that I. Oh yeah, definitely.
You have embarrassing
Yeah,
things
very
that
embarrassing.
Cassie
I'm
would-
an angel. I got nothing.
Yeah.
Lance has like 40.
Brandon,
I got-
do you concur with that?
I got nothing to share.
There's a laundry list. So that could be the entire topic of that is Lance embarrassing moments. But I, after every bit of training indoors, unclothe and put my stuff into the washing machine and then just walk through the house naked to go upstairs.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
wow.
fair.
And it's wildly embarrassing for her, I know, because we have windows there. Like, we have neighbors. So,
You're like, oh, that guy with the mustache
yeah.
again. Ooh la
I know,
la.
right?
You want to let everybody know what time you ride at, Evan?
That's, very, very late at night when you're all asleep. So
I still do that every day myself.
I know you do.
I have to stop when Julie's at the house. So.
This was, I'm sure
My future
Julie,
daughter-in-law does not want to see me walk
Julie had that
naked.
moment, I'm sure,
like the
before
wedding is
proposing where
off.
she was like, oh, God, is this worth it?
Oh, jeez. Yep.
That's probably.
We'll just leave it on. That's Matt.
That's probably the worst thing I can share right there. I don't. No, I have 100 bad stories that I'm going to let my wife tell them.
Yeah. That we should tell people, stay tuned for the wife takeover episode.
Is there anything that you're worried about your wife disclosing to the faithful ladies
No,
and gentlemen
she
of
will-
the internet?
She will tell the truth, and I'm sure it will be very
nothing but the
embarrassing.
truth, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Gotcha. I don't know. You want to come up here and tell everybody what my thing is? Just
Save
air it
it.
right now?
Save it.
Oh, no.
What do you think?
I don't know. I get grumpy. I don't know.
I think. Well,
I used to like perseverate on Strava. I've been kind of disconnected from that and a lot of other stuff, but
yeah,
I don't know. I still love Strava. It's just
Yeah.
I just don't have time to go scrolling through it. There's
Yeah.
too many people, and sometimes it's like I don't have 20 minutes to do that, let alone like return text messages and phone calls and emails. So I don't know.
Ooh, that's actually a really funny one. Matt, how obsessed with YouTubes are you?
Oh, I'm super obsessed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure Kristen's
dangerous.
probably pretty annoyed with that, right?
She does a good job of dealing with the obsession, but yeah, she's definitely annoyed when I'm like, I got to get a video out this week and it's Saturday and I'm working when I should be hanging out with the crew, and I don't know.
Yeah.
It's bad.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess we're just gonna have them on and let them kind of tear us apart.
We need some tearing apart.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, Beck, thank you for that question. We will put you in charge of coordinating with the the other significant others, and you guys can have at it. Oh, geez.
That'll be a good one.
Oh, anyway. All right. I think that's it. I just wanted to say thank you to all the
Thank you,
the
guys.
audience out there. Those were great questions.
Yeah.
That was fun to talk about. Like we do at the end of every podcast, let's finish this thing up with one last thing. Anybody got a one last thing?
I've got
Evan?
my one last thing.
Go for it.
Me and Josh have finally started the Saturday 9 a.m. Tempo Crew.
But there's a competitive running group at 10 on Sunday. The Lakeside, and we have a Lakeside
Yeah, it
long
is.
run.
Exactly,
We
I
have a
know.
lo- we have
I'm
a
actually
logo.
glad we have both options.
You
for
guys have a
people who are
logo?
like- No, we don't.
Okay, come on.
We don't.
Come on.
Josh is still trying to come up with a name. Josh, come up with a name soon.
We have
so we have a
competing long
competitive
runs
name.
on Sunday?
Saturday and Sunday.
On Saturday
right
and
at this
Sunday.
table.
Where's your run
Yes.
at? Vancouver?
You could come. You could
So
get
ours might
one.
shift around, but right now it's at
Can't
Vancouver
say no.
Lake at 9 a.m. on Saturdays, except for Christmas. We are doing a New Year's one, though, so we will not do Christmas Day, but we will do New Year's coming up.
Got one up.
He's got a plan.
Yeah,
one
Way
up
better than
somehow.
us.
Exactly.
Lance.
I just wanted to say Merry Christmas to everybody, and especially to all our listeners and all the people that actually came here today. We do this for ourselves. You're just lucky to be here. But we're just super happy that we have people who actually listen to this so that we can keep making excuses to get together and
Keep
talk
on getting
with
all of our
each
tour
other.
picks wrong so we can
That's
keep
right.
on shoving in triathlon stuff nobody wants to listen to. It's great.
That's right. So thank you all to our listeners and people who have come to this. We certainly appreciate it.
Cool. Mr. Matt LeGrand, one last thing, buddy.
I always talk about videos and things, but I think you guys already saw the video. We actually recorded a video before this podcast. I made Evan hop on a video, so there will be a video about that coming out soon. Maybe I can edit it and get it out this week, or
I even cleaned up my mustache and shaved for it. So
wow,
yeah.
So tune in for that. But I definitely feel like I agree with Lance. The people that the fact that you guys listen to these things at all is just really, really polite of you. We appreciate it. We know that we're not easy on the ears. We're much worse on the eyes, but we're
Speak
not
for
easy on the
yourself.
ears.
I know.
Yes.
Mr. LeGrand.
That's I'm speaking for you. But we do really appreciate it. It's so nice of you guys.
Before we let Jake go, I really should say we
do.
Could not do this
Could not.
without
Oh
Jake.
no,
This
very
would not happen without Jake.
Very much so. Could not actually be done at all.
We actually, all the stuff that's in front of Jake, I don't even know how it
I have
works.
no idea what does what.
So-
I think that's
What
the
is this
volume,
thing?
the little slider things.
Yeah.
Matt could figure this out faster than he can grow beard. So
If we recorded a
So then
podcast
really
without you, it would just
would be
be
bad.
from my iPhone with the speaker on the
I just
iPhone.
figured out Instagram, so I would take a live and then just hope it recorded is what I would do.
The first part of the podcast would be like, wait, are we recording?
That's right.
Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. Okay,
I don't
just
know
say
how to edit
say
things.
something funny. Say something funny.
Do the Jake intro thing. I don't know.
What does Jake usually say?
So thank you, Jake, because
thank
this
you,
really
guys.
wouldn't be happening without you.
Well,
Yeah.
well, I just thank you guys for giving me an excuse to do all this stuff and learn all this stuff. You kind of helped me scratch this itch of like having fun, doing fun things, and thank you to my wife for putting up with me. I'm sure you guys will
thank
get
you,
to know
Becca.
more about that, and everybody who listens every week. Again, it just blows my mind that anybody listens. My mom doesn't even listen to this thing, and you guys do. It's
My mom
pretty
does
awesome.
listen, I will be honest. My mom absolutely
our
listens, so I have to be
number one
careful
fan.
what I say on here.
I
Yeah.
don't even think my mom knows what a podcast
I
is,
don't think
but that's all.
mine does
Well, on that note, we do really greatly appreciate each and every one of you. We will see you next week. Until then, bye for now.